Greetings, Earthlings. Welcome to Nature Obscura, a podcast where nature and the supernatural collide. I'm Marissa.
And I'm Grace. Each week, we share spooky happenings from the great outdoors, from cryptids to curses, ghosts to witches, and everything in between.
Now, while we love a haunted house sort of situation, that's not what we're here for. It's got to be in the outdoors. We're thinking woods, the beach, a swamp with a boardwalk. That'd be amazing. But we're here to take you around the globe to explore where nature and the supernatural intersect.
At the beginning of the episode, we're going to briefly share any spooky or naturey encounters we've had over the past week before diving into some natural history and background, and then the main story.
So grab your flashlight and your scuba gear because we're diving into this week's episode, which takes us to the Alaska Triangle. It's the Bermuda Triangle's colder, more snowy, more isolated twin, and it's maybe even scarier. But before we jump into the strange, mysterious disappearances and other things going on there, Grace is going to tackle the natural history of the area, which is beautiful.
I will be honest, when you first said diving in with scuba gear, I got kind of nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, I researched the wrong thing. I was like, I researched Alaska, not the ocean.
I kind of want to get my scuba diving certification.
Marissa. It is
Do you want
crazy. I'm
to?
sorry. It's crazy that you said that because I was just telling a coworker today that is on my bucket list.
Okay, I just turned 30. You just recently turned 30. Maybe that is our goal of our 30s is we're gonna get scuba certified?
Can it be? Can it be?
Yes.
No, not just our 30s because I've heard it's expensive.
Oh, no. Okay, so we need to
No.
save. So
Yeah.
first we need to budget.
Yeah.
We'll
We need to
revisit
do
this.
research.
We'll revisit.
Yeah, because my coworker, she's from Florida, and she said that she went scuba diving this past weekend here in Michigan. And I was like, oh my God, what did you see? What did you do this? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I can't wait to do that with you. I'm going to get certified. And
Yeah,
I cannot believe you just brought that up.
she can show us the ropes.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm so excited.
Okay, yeah. What have you been up to?
So, yeah, I've been up to a lot since my baby's been sick. I was home with her Thursday and Friday, so we spent so much time outside. Um, the weather has been lovely, just perfect.
Mhm.
So, um, around our property, I've been IDing all of the plants. It's been really exciting getting to know the trees, the bushes around us, what's invasive, what's not. But we found a lot of poison ivy around,
Okay.
a lot. And I'm allergic. Are you?
I wanna say no because I've never had an issue with it, and I'm bad at IDing it, but I can't say for sure.
Well, come on over, test
Okay,
it out, get
I
rid of
will.
all of my poison ivy for me.
Okay.
But this naturey slash spooky thing is not really spooky, scary. Is I know how to ID it now. Before it's anything with 3 leaves, they're serrated poison ivy. But now I know, and so I had my baby on the ground next to this tree, and I look, and her hand is inches away from poison ivy, and I'm like, oh.
Oh.
Nope. So I scooped her up. We ran inside, took a shower together, and I'm like, "Oh my God!" Because when I get poison ivy, I get it so bad,
Oh,
on
really?
I've had it where, my eyes were swollen shut before.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
I had it really bad. So then I was worried, I was worried the baby was gonna get it, and then she was gonna give it to me, and, I was gonna give it to I was so nervous, but alas, we haven't gotten it yet.
Good, good.
Mhm. But it's pretty much everywhere. I really have to watch, and we walk in our yard barefoot, all the time. And
Yeah.
so I've been watching a lot more. It'll just be a random spot in the yard, just "Oh, actually, I think I'll just be right here next to the clovers, full sun, or along the
That's
house, or
weird.
along this tree, along our shed." It's really bizarre.
Have you put any plywood down or any boards down so you can go look for
Mm.
snakes?
No, not over there, but there is one spot, on on our home property where we have like 2 boards down, really small boards, but every morning, the baby and I take a walk around the property before work and daycare, and, we always look under it. There's always worms and centipedes and millipedes and beetles and spiders, and it's always so fun to see, "What's it gonna be this morning?" You know? So, no snakes. So, yet.
Millipedes are cool. So that's
Oh, yeah.
still
I get excited about everything. One
yeah.
time, no, 2 times, there was, 2 earthworms mating.
And I've
Yeah.
never seen such a thing, so that's
Mhm.
fantastic.
It's crazy, it was, like, 2 days in a row, they were right there.
Hmm.
I know.
Well, we went to Hocking Hills this past weekend, and with
Oh
that
my god, I forgot to ask you, I'm so sorry. How was your
no, you're
birthday?
good. It was good. I did all my favorite things, which was, being with Cody and her dog
Mhm,
Junie,
Junie, yeah.
and we went hiking. I did a little bit of antiquing. I just window shopped, which is honestly the best kind because I'm not spending any money. Um, and then I got the best Brussels sprouts, fried Brussels sprouts, which is great. And I went ghost hunting for the first time. And when I say ghost hunting, I'm gonna say like ghost hunting light, Lite. We did it for about 20 minutes, but we were just honestly too scared.
Oh my gosh, do you use your new device?
Yes. Okay, so I got a spirit box. They bought me the nicer one that, like, the professionals use, and they gave me a whole
Oh.
nice list. Shout out Annabelle for, like, how to use it. So I tried using that, but have you heard the spirit box and what it sounds like? It's creepy in and of itself. So I
No.
was honestly a little scared to use it. We used it, nothing came through. I did a whole flashlight thing, that didn't work either. But it was just I went with Cody, so when he was getting scared, it, like, scared me more.
Yeah.
It made us not go so as long because when we pulled up, there was this car, but no one there, and then I was kind of, at first, more scared of people than I was ghosts.
Yeah, I mean, that
Because 'cause
makes
we're
complete sense.
yeah, they're more scary than ghosts, and then okay, so this is where it gets really weird. I looked back through the videos before we jumped on this call, and I can see it a little bit, but not to the extent I saw it in person. When we stepped out of the car, all of a sudden, we weren't seeing this on the drive-in. Keep in mind, we did the Moonville Tunnel, by the way, listeners. If you haven't listened to that episode, well, I don't remember what it's titled, but it should say something about the Moonville Tunnel. So you should check it out. I like re-looked at our notes from the episode to be like, what ghost am I looking for?
Right.
Um, but anywho, we get out of the car and it's first of all, being in a forest in a very rural area, very narrow drive, twists and turns, pitch black, creepy enough. So
Mhm.
I'm already weirded out. But we get out, and then all of a sudden that we didn't witness this in the car, there's these white tiny lights just like flashing in various random areas of the woods. But there's no like it's not cameras and it kind of reminded me of almost lightning bugs, but have you ever seen a bright white lightning bug?
Okay, it's really, really weird that you say this too, because just last night I was looking out the window and I saw exactly what you're describing. I looked out the window and there was just like white light that was flashing every maybe like 8 seconds or something. And I
And
was
it was
like moving,
sporadic.
yeah, and I was like moving my head to make sure it wasn't any kind of glare. And it just like kept going. I'm like, what the freak is that? Um, well, yeah, I wonder if it was, like, a type of lightning bug. I forgot to look up lightning bug colors, but isn't it too early?
It's not because the thing is so we stayed at a campground like 10 minutes from Moonville Tunnel, which was very convenient, and like we saw lightning bugs, but it was the standard yellowish
Yeah, green.
glow. Yeah,
Yeah.
yellow green glow. And then we went there. It was a piercing bright white.
Did you
And
Google it yet?
I did, and I didn't have much success, so I was gonna ask you because I trust your knowledge more than me, but it weirded both me out. It was really strange. It didn't pick up that well on my camera, but I did get a couple, and the thing is, it was in the forest. Um, I'd say 30 to 50 on either side of where we were standing, but it was nowhere
Really?
else. It
Wow.
was super weird. I feel like it had to have been a lightning bug, but it was at all different elevations, like, there was, like, some 5 feet on the ground and some, like, 20 feet up high, and it was
Weird.
only in the forest area. I just never seen a I was like, "Maybe that's what it looks like when you're in a rural area with no artificial light. Maybe the light appears more white," but when I looked, it doesn't seem to be the case. It seems to be, yeah, yellow, green like we're used to. So I'm just wondering
Man.
what the heck we were seeing. Um, Another spooky thing that happened, but also very naturey, I saw a Luna moth in the wild.
No way.
And when I mean in the wild, it was, like, right outside of our cabin door the morning of my 30th birthday, and I was kind of weirded out because I've always heard of this moth. People get tattoos of it. I didn't really know, like, the meanings behind it, so I looked, and it's, like, transformation, female intuition, all this stuff, and I was weirded out because May 31st born me May 30th, my birthday, was also a blue moon, which is rare and is also about transformation and intuition. And Grace, it let me literally, I thought it was dying. I'm sure it probably still died in my logical brain, but it looked like it was just sitting there. It let me pick it up. So I went
Uh-huh.
to go put it on a tree, whatever, and then it flew into my hair. Just okay, whatever. I thought it was just like had a brief moment. I picked it up again to go set it to, like, a food source, let it pass naturally. I'm assuming it's daylight at this point, it's dying. All of a sudden, it just flew away.
How magical.
I was creeped out. I was like, "I know this is supposed to be magical," but I was scared.
Take it t take the good signs when you get them, Marissa. That is good juju. The Alaska Triangle covers over 200,000 square miles. Its vast boundaries are anchored by three distinct points. To the north, well above the Arctic Circle, lies the windswept coast of Utqiagvik. The western point rests in Anchorage, tucked between the Cook Inlet and the Chugach Mountains, while Juneau marks the southeastern tip along the British Columbia border. And I know you're just as interested in the geology of this land as I am, so let's dig in. The region sits along the active boundary of the Pacific and North American plates. The Pacific plate is actively sliding beneath the North American plate in a process called subduction, causing frequent earthquakes that continue to remodel the landscape. This collision is what built the towering Chugach and Alaska Ranges. And while mountains are cool and all, in 1964, the Good Friday earthquake, with an epicenter near Anchorage, reached a magnitude of 9.2, and it lasted 4 minutes and 38 seconds. It's called a mega thrust earthquake, and it's the most powerful earthquake that was ever recorded in North America, and the second most powerful earthquake in the world. Ever recorded, that is.
That's insane. I've never heard of an earthquake that high of magnitude before.
I know. I can't imagine even experiencing something like that.
Have you ever experienced an earthquake?
Yes, I have actually, and I even looked up some stats because I was gonna tell you about it. Have you?
I did a minor one when I was a teenager.
You should look up the statistics on it because I'm sure they'll have it. Mine was on Wikipedia. Um, so the earthquake that I experienced, um, actually, my gosh, where did my thing go? I'm losing all my documents here. I was like in fifth grade, and it's called the 2008 Illinois earthquake. The epicenter was about 150 miles away from where I was, which is crazy because it shook my entire room. It was in the middle of the night, and my dresser just started shaking violently, and I had to hop up and hold it so that it wouldn't fall over. I was on the 2nd floor. So I, like after I kinda was like, "Oh my god, this is an earthquake," I ran out of my room, and at that time, my sister, she ran out of her room, which was right across the hall, and we were just like, "What's happening?" And then by the time anyone could really do anything, it stopped. Um, and it's crazy because what I looked up was it was 150 miles away from the epicenter where I was, but this earthquake, it was felt all the way in Nebraska, and I was in Southern Illinois, and it was in Nebraska where they felt it too.
That's insane.
Yeah, crazy. Earthquakes are crazy, and it's like every time I start to do research about them, I get super duper excited, and I go into big deep dives or, little, like, I don't know, digs. Oh, that was stupid. But then I stop and then I forget about them for a few years, and then I go into another deep dive and then do research like this. So
Perfect.
within this massive expanse, the landscape transitions dramatically. The frozen, lichen filled northern tundra gives way to central forests of black spruce and birch before finally melting into a southeastern, temperate forest, so thick it swallows sound. It is a striking wilderness shaped by ancient glaciers, jagged peaks, and narrow fjords. Next, let's talk about the animals in the triangle. The Alaska Doll sheep typically live in 2,500 to 6,500-foot elevation range, and they inhabit all of the major mountain ranges of the state, along with a few minor ranges. In the high country, dull sheep cling to near vertical cliffs on specially textured hooves. They are sexually dimorphic, which means the rams, which are males, and the ewes, which is the female, look different. Now, the word ewes is spelled Ewes, and at first I was reading it as like ewes, and I was like, of course, a man probably named that. Like, oh, the females are the ewes. I was like, what the hell? So I looked it up, because I was like, this can't be right. And it wasn't, thank goodness. It's like you, like the word you. Um, so yeah, the males, they have really large horns, and the females, they have shorter, thinner horns than the males. Next, let's talk about predators. First, we have the lynx, which is the only cat native to Alaska. The lynx is a large, short tailed cat, similar to the bobcat, but distinguished by its long legs, furry feet, long tufts on the tip of each ear, and the black tipped tail. Their large, broad feet act as snowshoes to improve winter travel and hunting. They have dense, soft fur that is buffy gray with indistinct spotting, and their main food source is the snowshoe hare. They often ambush hares and other small prey while bedded down near small game trails. Lynx are adept at climbing trees, but hunt mainly on the ground, sometimes using trees as a refuge from large predators, like wolves. Another predator is the polar bear. They're often found in the very northern region of Alaska, so think the very top point of the triangle. Polar bears, polar bears are the largest land carnivore on Earth, having branched off from brown bears roughly 500,000 years ago to become highly specialized marine mammals. Over millennia, they evolved an apex diet almost entirely reliant on high fat, ringed, and bearded seals, which provides the massive caloric energy required to survive the Arctic freeze. And just a really quick question for you, Marissa. Would you ever go camping somewhere that you knew had polar bears?
I'm less bothered by polar bears than I am the cold. Um, I
Wow, that's
would, I think,
surprising.
camp near polar bears, but I also, from what I understand, aren't they the most aggressive?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, yeah, I think it's like if they're coming at you, they're trying to kill you
Yeah, that's
for
what
food.
from what I understand as well. The main concern for me, though, is how cold it is.
Really? Wow.
Yes, I
I
hate the
mean, I
cold.
also hate being cold. Yeah. Um, I had listened to this story once though, where it was like this guy was in his tent and his friend was also in the tent and he like woke up and like unzipped it, stuck his head out, and a polar bear just like freaking killed him. Like just grabbed him, just yanked him out. He's dead before he could even do anything. And that's how I imagine it. You go
Yeah,
camping
would you?
anywhere, you're gonna wake up. No. Oh no. No. I would be way too scared. Scare scale would be probably 8 or 9 for me. Probably 9.
I think that's completely valid.
Okay, yeah, and that's all I had. There was a lot because it's such a large space, but I just wanna get to this as fast as possible because I feel like there are so many things here that could kill you.
Right. Well, the Alaskan wilderness in and of itself, with how remote and rugged the region is, there's a number of things that'll naturally kill you or cause tremendous issues, not to even include the supernatural side of things. And that's been a
Mhm.
point of debate for several naysayers of the region. Well, of
Yeah.
course, there's a lot of people that disappear. It's such a remote area. But to the extent in which they do, I don't know. That's something that we'll have to discuss after we've gone through more of the details. So, within the Alaska Triangle, over 20,000 people have been reported missing since 1988. That means that people are going missing here at a rate of nearly double the national average.
That's
So,
insane.
it is. Even taking into account the rough, rugged terrain, I feel like the majority of the people that are going here aren't newbies when it comes to the outdoors. When you're first starting out and wanting to dip your toe into the wilderness, you're not thinking, let me go to the remote regions of Alaska. You're going to go to, I don't know, a national park out west or something. But like this, I don't know. It's very strange. So, what is causing such a high number of people to go missing in this remote and rugged area? Could it be natural or supernatural? So, you likely have heard of the more famous Bermuda Triangle, sometimes known as the Devil's Triangle in the Caribbean. The region within the triangle is infamous for mysterious disappearances and strange happenings. Though this much colder and more rugged counterpart is often less talked about, but it is equally strange and harrowing. The region of the Alaska Triangle um, was first acquainted with mysterious disappearances in October of 1972 when a small passenger plane disappeared as it made its route from Anchorage to Juneau. Despite countless search hours dedicated to combing through the nearly 325,000 square miles, the plane and its inhabitants were never seen again. The passenger plane was a twin engine Cessna 310, consisting of House Majority Leader Hale Boggs and Representative Nick Bessing, an aide, Russell Brown, and pilot Don Johns. The Cessna seemed to disappear into thin air, with no understandable reason for the cause of disappearance. There was nothing of note regarding the weather conditions that day, and Don Johns was an experienced pilot with years of experience under his belt. The plane's sudden disappearance shocked Washington, D.C., and one of the largest search and rescue operations up to that point in history took place. Over 40 military aircraft and 50 civilian planes searched the area over a period of more than 3,600 hours. Over nearly a month later, with nothing to show, despite the extensive search efforts, the search was called off. The incident rattled Congress so much that it had passed a law mandating that all U.S. civilian aircraft be equipped with emergency locator transmissions.
My first reaction was government conspiracy.
I mean, it has to be. And more on that.
Government
Conspiracy
cover up.
theories. Right. Conspiracy theories on what caused the accident started right away, and it might not be what you expect. Boggs was a member of the Warren Commission, which was set up by President Lyndon B. Johnson to investigate the assassination of John F. Kennedy. The commission widely believed and wanted to put forward in history that John F. Kennedy was killed by just one assassin. However, Boggs disagreed, believing the assassination involved multiple individuals. Some believe that this belief got Boggs killed for looking too deeply into something he shouldn't have.
Wow. That's really crazy. That's not what I expected at all. That
Right?
makes me obviously think there were multiple shooters. That's crazy that this guy thought there were multiple and got killed by the government.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's weird. I don't know for sure. I think there's good points to be raised into why people would think there were multiple just based on the angles. Um, but yeah, same as you. I just haven't really looked too much more into it.
Yeah.
So whatever the cause, this was not the first and definitely not the last plane to mysteriously disappear in this remote region. In the years since the first big disappearance to make headlines, numerous planes have crashed. Hikers, tourists, and locals alike have also disappeared. This brings us to the account of Paul, or this brings us to the disappearance of Paul Lemaitre, a 65-year-old who is just 200 feet from the finishing line of his first marathon when he disappeared. Just 200 feet.
That doesn't make sense because were there not people there?
There was plenty of people. That's what makes this story so insane. Between his last known point and the finish line, he had disappeared. Authorities at the time believed he fell off the marathon's path and into the wilderness. However, the area which he may have disappeared in was small, right? I mean, it was 200 feet. And despite the efforts of troops, mountain rescue experts, and search dogs, Paul was never seen again.
Are you serious? That doesn't make any sense.
It was really strange.
Maybe he got kidnapped.
I mean, I
Was he
just
an
don't
old
understand why
guy
they
or, like,
couldn't
he
find
was,
the
like,
body
good?
because even though it was remote, it was a 200 feet range. They searched for him for weeks and weeks and weeks. It was huge in the media at the time. Everyone in that area was looking for him. How does he just disappear?
That is so crazy. Wow.
And I don't want to say his death was inherently like supernatural in order or anything, but just even something natural. What a freak, horrible, awful thing to happen. It so shook up that community that they did change the rules, where I think they now have GPS tracking or similar on each contestant to avoid something like this from ever happening again. Because they've had injuries, it is a pretty rugged course, but they've never had a disappearance like this.
Yeah.
So it caused them to change their rules and how they operate the marathon. So, let's dive into another disappearance, of which, I mean, 20,000, there's many. Richard Griffiths, an inventor of a special wilderness survival cocoon, went out into the Alaskan wilderness within the Alaska Triangle to test out his new invention. It was a kind of, I'm assuming, super modern sleeping bag that essentially cocooned him, was able to withstand with extreme heat and cold, I'm assuming. He was last seen at a bus stop in Yukon. In the summer of 2006 is when he left to test this new invention, and he was last seen. He was stated that he was going to camp near McCarthy River, and people for several months just figured he was testing out his survival cocoon
For
until he
months,
never
though?
returned. Yeah, it's a really unfortunate scenario where he wasn't reported missing for several months. So a lot of evidence or where like,
I
tips as to
mean,
where it could be, it probably faded out because it had been so long in between when he went missing and when it was reported.
and it's not like you can look at footprints in the snow.
Right, exactly. Yeah, in the summer, I mean, I'm not even sure with the elevations. Yeah,
Mm. Wow. I wonder if they'll find him one day,
yeah.
just in his little
Hopefully.
cocoon.
And yeah, I wonder of these, I think it was some said over 20, some said closer to 16 to 18,000. I wonder how many are going to be resolved. I guess I would like to know the percentage of people passing through that area in ratio to the number of them going missing so we can get a better idea of the scope, you know? I don't know, it's
Yeah.
just really
I don't
strange.
know.
But let's get into the theories as to what could be going on here. So, we have one major theory involving unidentified aerial phenomena, UAP, aka UFOs, aka aliens. It all started from a report made to the Federal Aviation Administration in 1986. During a routine flight, Japan Airlines Flight 1628 encountered three unidentified UAP. The pilot had initially believed the unknown aircraft was the military before he noticed the flying objects to be keeping pace with the plane and moving and lighting up strangely. The unidentified UAP were described as two small ships and a mothership. The pilot reported this to the Anchorage FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, who told him to take evasive action. He decreased his altitude and turned the plane in a full circle to avoid these strange flying objects. Despite these efforts, the UAP still followed.
Mm.
The Aviation Administration investigation identified the pilot, Captain Kenhi Tarachu, as a UFO repeater. They blamed the so-called UAP on Tarachu mistaking Jupiter and Mars as UFOs. I'd
No,
be
that's just
offended as
rude.
hell. As a
Yeah,
pilot, you're gonna tell me I can't tell the difference between a flying object versus a planet?
right. Like, the stars? Seriously? Aw, that sucks. You know what? They have to say that to cover their butts.
Of course
So,
they
I
do.
mean, it's just like the one guy at the conference said, like, his manager, he had the same feelings as him, but he couldn't say that to the public.
Exactly. And despite the FAA saying that, oh, it was just mistaken planets, the claims that the pilot had made were later corroborated by civilians who witnessed the UFOs from the ground. And they were even seen apparently on military radar. Some speculate that the high number of disappearances have occurred due to extraterrestrials. Others, including the official investigators, dismiss the radar images as clutter and just a confidential, split image of the Japanese aircraft, despite the radar showing something very different. This furthered they furthered the uncertainty of the report by stating the huge differences in accounts from the crew on the plane. Was it just a misidentification? Or was there some level of confusion or disorientation among those in the plane, resulting in them being unable to give consistent stories? Taking it back to what we learned at the conference, people that have encountered extraterrestrials or abductions, more or less, there's a general, like, you feel almost like you're drugged in a way, causing this disorientation, this confusion. And while the general public may also believe that to be meaning and consistent with a lack of credibility, maybe it's not.
That's a really great point and something I didn't think about. Yeah. I mean, these people, they must think they're going insane. Like, I saw what I saw, and yeah. Ugh.
Could you imagine how isolating that is? That's
No, I
scary.
mean, it kind of reminds me of that little monster, the Dover demon.
Poor guy.
Poor guy was just, you know,
You just want to
I
look
don't
for
know,
salamanders,
just
poor
just look for
dude.
salamanders and just gotta live with that the rest of his life.
So, another popular theory suggests massive swirling energy vortexes existing within the Alaska Triangle, causing the disappearances. Now, for me personally, I feel like I do kind of believe or say like good energy, bad energies, but I didn't know anything about this vortex situation, and so I had to do a little bit more digging. So, energy vortexes may seem abstract, but they can directly influence human behavior and mindset. For example, energy vortexes that apparently they'll move clockwise, they tend to create positive emotions, while counterclockwise vortices can lead to negative feelings and confusion.
Is this like an actual science thing?
Some people say yes, some people say no.
Okay. I'm loving it.
It's very weird. I will say that. So, clockwise or positive vortexes spiral upward and are often thought to be good for meditation, creativity, and healing. People are actually known to seek out places with positive vortices, which can result in one feeling recharged or uplifted. Positive vortexes include the Egyptian pyramids and the Stonehenge. Negative vortexes spiral downward and create a draining of energy. For people, it is believed to cause not only disorientation, but even health problems. Is the Alaska Triangle in a negative vortices? I'm interchanging between vortices and vortexes, not only because I don't understand when to use the difference, but also I feel like I could be saying the word vortices wrong. And I don't like the word too much.
Honestly, I didn't even notice that entire time.
Good.
It sounded so natural. I was like, "That's how you say it."
I'm just winging it. I'm, like, interchanging between the 2. I'm like, "What is right here?" So, not only are negative vortexes, said to drain energy, but they can also cause electrical malfunctions. Other famous areas that are said to have a negative energy vortex are the Bermuda Triangle and Easter Island.
I've read that there's actually triangles all over the world. Did you see how many there were?
That's a great question. I didn't look too much into specific triangles, but I just know that one of our few episodes that I've already done research for is about another triangle in England.
Really? Oh, I love the triangle stories. The
Yeah,
National
so
Park After Dark triangle episode, that one was my favorite. One of my favorites.
ooh, I'll have to
Yeah,
look into that. I didn't know.
I didn't get an answer.
So, what is an energy vortex? Paige Bryant defines a vortex in TerraVision, a traveler's guide to the living planet Earth, as follows. A vortex is a massive energy that moves in a rotary or whirling motion, causing a depression or vacuum at the center. These powerful eddies of pure earth power manifest as spiral like coagulations of energy that are either electric, magnetic, or electromagnetic qualities of life force. Do you understand that? I mean,
No, not at all. I didn't understand any of it. I'm over here smiling and nodding. Yeah,
I kind of feel the same way. Um, I need a explain like I'm five sort of situation.
right. Yeah.
But this theory of these energy vortexes don't come out of nowhere. After all, there has to be some sort of evidence to back this theory up, right? So, numerous electronic readings of the Alaska Triangle has resulted in significant magnetic abnormalities. Search teams using compasses report the compasses to be incorrect within the region, sometimes more than 30 degrees off, even when the compasses were working before the trek to the Alaska Triangle. Others have experienced auditory hallucinations and feeling disoriented. Could these abnormal magnetic abnormalities be causing confusion and disorientation, leading to otherwise skilled pilots, hikers, and outdoorsmen to crash or become lost? Or and this is where you really have to put your tinfoil hat on for. It's pretty crazy. So, could it actually be an underground extraterrestrial pyramid?
I love that you didn't just stop at, like, extraterrestrial, like, underground city or something. You just went to pyramid, like, it's just a pyramid.
It's an actual pyramid. And let's dive
Like,
in because,
upside down?
yes, under earth. And it's honestly a little bit too much even for me. And
Okay, please
I
don't. Don't.
love some weird shit.
Yeah.
So this was featured, it was actually several, I think it was a whole TV show. It's the Travel Channel, the Alaska Triangle. So this Alaska Triangle dark pyramid is a popular conspiracy theory claiming that a massive, ancient, and possibly extraterrestrial pyramid is hidden deep underground in the Alaskan wilderness.
Where did they even arrive to at this? How did they get to this?
So I will be completely honest, I watched bits and pieces of the episode, but it was even so much for me that I felt like I was going crazy and I couldn't watch it in full.
Yeah.
But essentially, so there is a man who worked as part of the counterintelligence for the US government. And in Alaska at the time, he was watching the news and they said, "Yeah, we found this strange mass that's in the shape of a pyramid under Alaska's core. We don't know what that's about, but it's pretty weird." So he saw that on the news and being counterintelligence wanted to get more information. Understandable.
Yeah.
He had certain clearances to get more info. So this is Doug Mulcher. So the pyramid was somewhere in the flat plains out from Denali, which is within the Alaska Triangle. Wanting to get for information, and he even like called his friends, asked about it. Did you see that crazy story on the news? For some reason, No one knew what he was talking about.
My god.
So
That sucks.
he was so determined. He went to the station and he talked to the manager of the station who denied broadcasting the story. Basically, a dude, you're crazy, don't know what you're talking about. A more junior employee intercepted and said that they had seen two guys come in looking for the tapes and took the tapes of the recording.
No way.
They were trying to bury the story. But what Doug couldn't understand was why.
Hmm.
He couldn't let this go.
So the manager was lying
Yeah,
to cover his ass?
yeah. And Doug just couldn't let this go. So a
I
few
wouldn't
years
either.
later, he was stationed somewhere else. He was on the East Coast in, Fort Meade in Maryland, and he started to go digging through the archives for archaeological surveys of Alaska. So he specifically went in, he wanted to do some digging on Alaska. As he started sifting through the files and pulled something similar to maybe what he was wanting, two suits, as he
No.
described, came up from him and stopped him, telling him he didn't need to go through that.
How did they get there so fast? How did they know he was doing they were watching him.
Don't know, but also, okay, and honestly, at this point, I did turn it off because, in my opinion, if they didn't want him viewing it, why did they have it on display to begin with?
Exactly, this is getting ridiculous.
So it was just like it was just a
Just waiting for
smidge
him to
too
find it.
tinfoil hat for me, but
Yeah.
I still was
Hey,
along for the ride.
yeah, I'm here for the story. I in my head, this was like a movie. I'm like, there's, like, actors, you know? This could be a good hit.
Right. So, journalists did some digging on Doug's claims, and they found that in 1992, a large underground nuclear test in China resulted somehow in US geologists detecting a massive dark, pyramid shaped anomaly. And this was 70 times bigger than Hiroshima. It was an enormous subterranean triangle.
But, like, upside down or, like, a right side up, like, which way you talk.
They didn't specify, at least before I turned it off. But from what I understand, there's a massive triangle underground, and in some versions, they claim it's twice the size of the Great Pyramid of Giza, which is 450 feet in height, while others specify it's only slightly taller, at a whopping 550 feet tall, which, to be fair, is still huge.
Yeah, that is humongous.
So the theory is with all of this crazy tinfoil hat, we have our hats on, we won't get abducted by aliens, we're safe here. The conspiracy theory basically is that the pyramid acts as an energy source, pulsing powerful electromagnetic fields that disrupt compasses, causing those flight abnormalities and disorientation, ultimately resulting in the thousands of disappearances in the region.
Okay, but why?
That's a great question, and I felt like I was never gonna get to the answer of that in the episode, which is why I had to turn it off. I felt like
Oh,
I was going crazy.
it just goes in
So
circles where it's like it just
yes.
like, in, like, so many recaps too.
Yes, exactly. I'm just it was a bit much, but let's rein it in a little bit. So, still involving the supernatural, we're going to go into the indigenous folklore of the region that dates back centuries. The Tinglant and Shimshan people tell stories of the Kushtaka, a shapeshifter that lurks in this exact wilderness in search of prey. Apparently, the creature looks similar to an otter, but often appears as something you would find trustworthy, particularly to those lost in the woods, which probably happens far too often in this remote region of Alaskan wilderness. The Kushtaka emit a three-part high-pitched whistle alternating from low, high, low, indicative of the unique call of this creature. The Kushtaka gains the person's trust, lures them deeper into the woods, and either kills them or turns them into a Kushtaka too. Other accounts say that the Kushtaka can supposedly be warded off by urine, dogs, metals, and fire. Tlingit elder David Katzig says that it's a spirit that tries to take you in both a literal and spiritual sense. Quote, on one hand, everyone experiences it. It basically tries to steal your mind, tries to steal, in a way, your self esteem. It takes away from you. It causes you to become a person you really were never intended to be, like being an alcoholic, a drug addict, a child abuser. What is a kushtaka? In a way, it's a spirit that basically says, only if you're like me, then you're going to be okay. End quote. So it sounds like not only can it kill or turn other people into kushtakas, it can cause and be a source of peril for people that are living their lives within this region. With an area so vast and remote, and with such a high number of disappearances, it seems impossible to say whether it's all due to the rugged nature of the area, or the harsh climate, or something supernatural altogether. Perhaps it's a mix of everything. The only thing we can know for sure is that with so many disappearances and so many still missing, we're never going to know.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I love mysteries, but when you know you're just never gonna know the true answer, it just really eats at you.
It's so frustrating when there's so many bits and pieces, and if only you could see whatever it is that you're missing to solve it, and it just doesn't happen. And I mean, in this case, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of cases that get justice, whether it was due to natural or other causes. Um, but so many won't. And that's, I think, just like the saddest thing of all. And frustrating, obviously, not only for the people and but their loved ones, you know?
Mhm. But that last story, it really played into the idea of the vortex where it just builds and builds negative energy, and that's pretty much exactly what they were saying.
True.
So for the scare scale this week, let's do, and I have to think of these on the whim because I didn't write any down. 1, easy. No, okay. 1 is you'd go there in a heartbeat. You're not really worried about dying in the triangle or having super negative thoughts. You're kinda just like, "Whatever, this doesn't exist." 5 is more like, "Okay, I'm a little weary, maybe I'll step a foot into the triangle," say I've been there, and that's it. Makes it a really cool story to tell your friends. And 10, you would never go there ever. You avoid all triangles at all times. You'd never go to a place in the shape of a triangle.
Hmm. I think I'd have to go with 5 just because it encompasses such a wide range of Alaska,
Oh
and
my
I
god,
really would
that's
like
so
to go
true.
there. It's like Juneau, Anchorage. Okay, how far are we talking into the wilderness? Because I would definitely like to go to those towns.
Right, it's like, does this, include crime in the city, where the triangle kind of is? Just like the suburbs? Or is
Good
it more
question.
just out in the wilderness?
Mm,
"Oh, someone died in the north part of the city. It's part of that darn triangle,"
yeah.
you know? I think I'd be more weary, like a 6, probably. I think it would be cool to go just to say you went to the Alaska Triangle, but I'm okay. I'll stay away. My luck. No, your luck, Marissa. You'd break your ankle somewhere and get stranded in the wilderness.
Listeners, we would love to hear. Do you think you have an idea of what's causing these disappearances? Is it natural, supernatural, or a mix of both? Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Nature Obscura.
Stay obscure, Earthlings.
Transmission ending.